Welcome back, YouTube family. I'm designer Malcolm, and this is another episode of Design Language. Today, we're diving into the origin of Dior, a story of vision, reinvention, and timeless elegance that changed the face of fashion forever. If you love creativity, culture, and self-expression, then you're gonna love what's coming up. But before we step into the world of Christian Dior, I want to quickly mention my brand new merch collection. If you've been enjoying the content on this channel, consider grabbing a shirt, hoodie, or coffee mug to show your support. A link to the collection is in the description. This is a limited run, and once these designs sell out, they're gone for good, so don't miss out. Now, let's not waste any time and explore the origin of Dior and the legacy that still shapes fashion today.
Perfect.
Chapter 1. A name, synonymous with luxury. In the glittering tapestry of fashion history, few names shine as brightly as Christian Dior. Revered as the architect of elegance, Dior's vision redefined what luxury meant in a post-war world and forever altered the course of women's fashion. More than a designer, Dior was a visionary who understood that clothing could be a language, a form of self-expression that transcended fabric and thread. Dior's legacy is built on his ability to balance tradition with modernity. From the iconic new look that revolutionized fashion in the late 1940s to the present-day collections that continue to captivate global audiences, the name Dior is synonymous with innovation, sophistication, and timeless beauty. The brand is not just a symbol of luxury, it is a celebration of artistry and elegance that has endured for over 7 decades. In this episode of Design Language, we delve into the extraordinary life and enduring impact of Christian Dior. From his idyllic childhood in Normandy, his meteoric rise in Paris, and the house's evolution under successive creative directors, this is the story of a man whose vision continues to inspire. But before we dive in, I want to take a moment and highlight Fashion Source, the sponsor of today's video. Fashion Source is a free weekly editorial that highlights the intersection of fashion, culture, design, and technology. Link in the description. Now let's journey into the luxurious world of Dior and the brand's impact on the fashion world stage. Chapter 2. Early life, from Normandy to Parisian art circles. Christian Dior was born on January 21st, 1905, in the picturesque seaside town of Granville, Normandy, a place where the rugged coastline met rolling gardens, forming a landscape that would later serve as endless inspiration for his romantic and feminine designs. Dior, the second of 5 children in a prosperous family, grew up in a privileged world of elegance and refinement, surrounded by an atmosphere of beauty, culture, and tradition. His father, Maurice Dior, was a successful fertilizer manufacturer, and the family lived in Villa les Rooms, a grand Belle Époque-style home perched on a cliffside overlooking the sea. This idyllic setting, filled with lush rose gardens, intricate ironwork, and delicate floral arrangements curated by his mother, Madeleine, left an indelible mark on young Christian's imagination. Decades later, when he became a couturier, His love for gardens, soft silhouettes, and floral motifs would shape his iconic designs. Despite his comfortable upbringing, Dior's childhood was not without its complexities. His mother, an aristocratic and highly cultured woman, instilled in him a love for refined aesthetics, but she also held firm expectations about his future. Like many of his generation, Dior was expected to follow a conventional path that would lead him into politics or diplomacy, securing his place in the upper echelons of society. His father, too, envisioned a future for Christian in an official government post, steering him toward the prestigious École des Sciences Politiques in Paris. Yet, deep inside, Dior was uninterested in political affairs. His heart was set on the arts, fashion, and the avant-garde movements that were thriving in the French capital. Determined to carve out a space for himself in Paris's creative circles, Dior pursued his passion for the arts with his father's financial backing, allowing him to open a small art gallery in 1928 alongside a friend. The gallery quickly became a hotspot for avant-garde artists, surrealists, and intellectuals, featuring works by luminaries like Salvador Dalí, Pablo Picasso, Georges Braque, and Jean Cocteau. Here, Dior cultivated his artistic sensibilities, learning about composition, balance, and the psychological impact of color, elements that would later define his approach to couture. However, this period of artistic exploration was short-lived. The Great Depression of 1929 sent shockwaves through the global economy, and in 1931, tragedy struck Dior's personal life with the sudden death of his beloved mother, Madeleine. This devastating loss and the collapse of his father's business forced Dior to abandon the gallery and rethink his future. Suddenly, the young man who once floated among the artistic elite of Paris found himself facing financial uncertainty. But Dior was nothing if not adaptable. Rather than retreating into despair, he channeled his creative instincts into fashion illustration, selling sketches to newspapers and established couture houses. His early sketches, often detailed and whimsical, caught the attention of prominent designers, marking the beginning of his journey into the world of haute couture. By the mid-1930s, Dior had secured work under Robert Piguet, one of the era's leading couturiers, who taught him the importance of elegance, restraint, and impeccable tailoring. Piguet gave Dior his first major opportunity to design dresses, and it was here that he realized fashion's ability to transform not just a silhouette, but a woman's entire presence. Later, Dior would work under Lucien Lelong, refining his understanding of craftsmanship and fabric manipulation. These formative years laid the foundation for what would become the House of Dior, setting the stage for the revolutionary new look that would later captivate the world. Dior's entry into fashion was not without struggle. In the early days, his sketches were often rejected for being too bold, as they veered away from the rigid tailoring of the 1930s and embraced a more fluid, feminine aesthetic. But he remained steadfast in his vision. His designs celebrated softness, movement, and the body's natural curves, in stark contrast to the boxy silhouettes of the time. This unwavering commitment to his artistic ideals would eventually propel him to legendary status. However, in these early years, Dior was still a young designer, patiently refining his craft and waiting for the right moment to introduce his vision to the world. Chapter 3: The Birth of a Legend, the New Look Revolution. By the mid-1940s, Paris was desperate for a renaissance, a return to glamour, artistry, and beauty after the stark realities of World War II. The war had stripped fashion to its bare essentials. Fabric rationing led to austere, practical clothing with straight lines and minimal detail. Utility trumped luxury, and fashion lost its sense of fantasy. But in 1946, Christian Dior was about to change all of that. With the financial backing of textile magnate Marcel Boussac, Dior established his couture house in a grand Parisian townhouse at 30 Avenue Montaigne, a location that would become the beating heart of French fashion. Boussac, known as the King of Cotton, believed in Dior's vision and gave him the resources to bring it to life. What happened next was nothing short of revolutionary. On February 12, 1947, Dior unveiled his debut collection, a stunning display of opulence, femininity, and structure that redefined post-war fashion. One outfit in particular, a voluptuous jacket cinched at the waist with an exaggerated peplum paired with a dramatically full skirt, captured the fashion world's imagination. It was a direct rejection of wartime austerity, an extravagant embrace of glamour, elegance, and indulgence. The collection was an immediate sensation, but Carmel Snow, the editor-in-chief of Harper's Bazaar, gave it its now iconic name. After seeing the show, Snow famously declared, "It's such a new look." And with that, a fashion movement was born. The new look wasn't just a trend, but a cultural shift. Dior's hourglass silhouettes, with nipped-in waists, rounded shoulders, and billowing skirts, celebrated the female form in a way that hadn't been seen for decades. At a time when fabric shortages were still a reality, the new look was both admired and criticized. Some saw it as a welcome return to extravagance and beauty, a necessary indulgence after years of war. Others questioned the excessive use of fabric, particularly when many struggled with rations and economic hardship. But Dior stood firm. To him, fashion was about more than practicality. It was about hope, optimism, and the joy of dressing up again. And women embraced it. Hollywood legends like Marlene Dietrich, Rita Hayworth, and Ava Gardner became devoted clients, bringing Dior's vision of elegant Parisian femininity to a global audience. The new look wasn't just a French phenomenon, it became a worldwide movement, symbolizing a new era of post-war prosperity and luxury. Dior's rapid rise to prominence led to expansions into accessories, fragrances, and international licensing agreements, laying the foundation for the modern luxury empire we recognize today. But Dior's success wasn't just about aesthetics, it was deeply personal. A touching detail often overlooked is the story behind his first perfume, Miss Dior. Named after his beloved sister, Catherine Dior, the fragrance was a tribute to her strength and resilience. Catherine, a member of the French resistance, had been captured by the Gestapo and survived imprisonment in the Ravensbrück concentration camp. Upon her return, she became a flower cultivator, an echo of the Dior family's deep connection to nature, beauty, and fragrance. Dior's new look didn't just change fashion, it redefined it. It set the stage for a new approach to femininity, luxury, and haute couture. With its unapologetic grandeur, it rescued Paris from post-war gloom and cemented its status as the world's fashion capital once again. What started as one bold collection became a revolution, and from that moment forward, Dior's name would be synonymous with elegance, reinvention, and timeless beauty. Chapter 4: The Dior Empire. Innovation and expansion. As Christian Dior's star rose, so did his ambition. What began as a single couture house in Paris soon blossomed into a global empire, reshaping the fashion industry as we know it today. Unlike many couturiers of his time, Dior understood that fashion was not just about artistry, but business, expansion, and accessibility. He was among the first to see the potential of the international market, particularly in the United States, where his designs became synonymous with European sophistication and craftsmanship. American women, eager for a taste of post-war Parisian luxury, flocked to Dior's creations, elevating his name to near mythical status across the Atlantic. Dior's understanding of luxury as a global language led him to open boutiques in major cities, bringing Parisian haute couture to a much wider audience. But he didn't stop there. He pioneered the concept of licensing, forging deals that allowed his name to extend beyond couture into fragrances, accessories, and even hosiery. This strategy, now a fundamental pillar of the modern fashion industry, ensured that Dior wasn't just a fleeting sensation, but a brand with enduring commercial power. Unlike many of his peers, Dior did not view licensing as diluting his artistry, but rather as an opportunity to democratize high fashion, an idea that generations of designers would later embrace. Yet, despite his business acumen, Dior's heart remained in the atelier. His collections were a testament to his architectural approach to design. He introduced new silhouettes with each passing season, each a meticulous study in structure, proportion, and movement. After the overwhelming success of the new look, Dior continued to push boundaries, unveiling the H-line in 1954, which elongated the torso and softened the waist, the A-line in 1955, with flared skirts that created an elegant triangular form, and the Y-line in 1956, which emphasized narrow shoulders and dramatic, voluminous skirts. Each silhouette was a masterclass in balance, proving that Dior's genius lay in beauty and his understanding of how fabric could sculpt the female form. Behind the glamour and grandeur, Dior's atelier was a hive of relentless innovation. He worked closely with his team of petite mains, the highly skilled seamstresses whose hands turned sketches into wearable poetry. These artisans, some of whom had trained for decades, carried out the delicate, painstaking work that defined haute couture at its highest level. Dior held them in the highest regard, understanding that their craftsmanship was the backbone of his empire. Every bead, every hand-stitched hem, and every carefully selected fabric spoke to the extraordinary attention to detail that became synonymous with the House of Dior. The refinement and artistry established during Dior's reign became the gold standard for haute couture, a legacy that continues today. But Dior had an unexpected side beyond his technical mastery, a profoundly superstitious nature. He rarely made any major decision without consulting his tarot card reader, believing that fate played a guiding hand in his success. Symbols of luck and protection, such as four-leaf clovers, stars, and lily-of-the-valley flowers, were subtly woven into his designs, from embroidery details to the very construction of garments. His lucky number, 8, also shaped his world. His first fashion house was located in the 8th arrondissement of Paris, and his inaugural collection featured 8 distinct silhouettes. These rituals and beliefs were more than mere quirks. They reflected Dior's deep need for assurance in an unpredictable industry. By the mid-1950s, Christian Dior was not just a designer, but a phenomenon. His empire stretched from Paris to New York, from London to Tokyo, redefining luxury. But while his name had become a global force, Dior remained humble and committed to his craft, always seeking new ways to elevate the art of couture. His legacy was no longer just about revolutionizing fashion, it was about building an institution that would outlive him, shaping the course of style for generations to come. Chapter 5: Legacy and the House after Dior. Christian Dior's sudden passing in 1957 at just 52 sent shockwaves through the fashion world. His death was not only a tragic personal loss, but also a monumental moment of uncertainty for the house he had so carefully built. At the time, the House of Dior was only a decade old, yet it had already become the world's most potent and influential couture brand. Many wondered if Dior's empire could survive without its visionary founder. However, what followed was not a decline, but an evolution. A new era of innovation, reinvention, and artistic brilliance that ensured Dior's legacy would endure for generations. In a bold and unexpected move, the house appointed 21-year-old Yves Saint Laurent as Dior's successor. The decision was met with skepticism. How could someone so young fill the shoes of a master? But Saint Laurent exceeded all expectations. In 1958, his first collection introduced the trapeze silhouette, a softer, more relaxed alternative to Dior's structured designs. It was an instant success, proving that Dior's magic was not bound to one man, but to a philosophy of constant reinvention. However, Saint Laurent's tenure was cut short when he was drafted into the Algerian War, leading to his departure from the house in 1960. In the following decades, the House of Dior saw several creative visionaries at the helm, each bringing their perspective while staying true to the brand's foundational elegance. Marc Bohan, who led from 1961 to 1989, introduced a more wearable, understated sophistication, catering to an elite clientele, including Princess Grace of Monaco. Then came Gianfranco Ferré, an Italian designer whose architectural approach to fashion reintroduced opulence to the house in the late 1980s and early 90s. But it was in 1996 that Dior entered a new, electrifying era, the era of John Galliano. Galliano's tenure from 1996 to 2011 was one of the most theatrical, extravagant, and unforgettable periods in Dior's history. A true fashion provocateur, he injected fantasy, drama, and historical references into his collections, creating runway spectacles that blurred the line between couture and performance art. His spring 1998 Haute Couture show, inspired by 18th century Parisian excess, and his Egyptian-themed 2004 collection remain some of the most iconic moments in fashion history. Galliano's Dior was decadent, surreal, and unapologetically grand. Following Galliano's departure in 2011, the house underwent a dramatic aesthetic shift with the arrival of Raf Simons in 2012. Known for his minimalist and modernist approach, Simons stripped Dior back to its core elegance, focusing on sleek tailoring, sculptural silhouettes, and a futuristic vision of femininity. His fall 2012 couture debut, in which he filled a Parisian mansion with walls of flowers, was a study in restraint and beauty, proving that Dior's DNA could be interpreted in countless ways. Since 2016, Maria Grazia Chiuri has led Dior into its most socially conscious era. The brand's first female creative director, Chiuri, has infused the house with a feminist perspective, introducing collections celebrating women's empowerment and activism. From her "We Should All Be Feminists" t-shirts to her reinterpretations of Dior's classic silhouettes with an edge of rebellion, Chiuri has ensured that Dior remains relevant to the modern woman. Despite these shifts in leadership, one thing has remained constant: Dior's ability to evolve without losing sight of its heritage. Whether through Galliano's theatrical grandeur, Simons's minimalist precision, or Chiuri's feminist lens, each creative director has added a new chapter to Dior's legacy. The house's commitment to excellence, craftsmanship, and reinvention has made it one of fashion's most enduring and respected names. Chapter 6. Dior Today, a global powerhouse. In an industry that constantly reinvents itself, Dior has adapted and thrived, becoming a beacon of innovation while remaining deeply connected to its heritage. Under Maria Grazia Chiuri's and Kim Jones's leadership, the house has entered a new era, one defined by modernity, inclusivity, and cultural dialogue. As fashion's digital frontier expands, Dior has positioned itself at the intersection of tradition and technology, embracing live stream shows, virtual reality experiences, and cutting-edge collaborations that ensure its continued dominance on the world stage. When Maria Grazia Chiuri was appointed in 2016, she made history as the first woman to lead Dior in its 75-year existence, a landmark moment that signaled a fresh perspective for the house. Chiuri wasted no time imprinting her vision onto the brand, infusing Dior with an unapologetically feminist ethos. Her debut collection for spring 2017 featured the now iconic "We Should All Be Feminists" t-shirt, inspired by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's essay. This t-shirt set the tone for her signature approach, fashion as activism. Chiuri's Dior is about more than aesthetics, empowerment, storytelling, and craftsmanship. She has reinterpreted classic Dior silhouettes with a modern sensibility, giving them a sense of ease and wearability while maintaining their elegance. Her collections draw inspiration from women throughout history, paying homage to figures like surrealist artist Leonore Fini and the female founders of the Bauhaus movement. Through her designs, she amplifies the voices of female creators, scholars, and activists, making each collection a conversation about identity, power, and representation. Her approach to couture is also deeply rooted in craftsmanship. She spotlights the artisans and ateliers that make haute couture possible, from the elaborate hand-woven textiles of Indian artisans to the delicate lacework of Italian ateliers. Chiuri has ensured that Dior's legacy of fine craftsmanship remains a central narrative in an era dominated by fast fashion. While Chiuri has led the charge in women's wear, Kim Jones has revolutionized Dior Men. Appointed as the artistic director of Dior Men in 2018, Jones merged the refinement of haute couture with the energy of contemporary streetwear, redefining what luxury menswear could be. Drawing inspiration from Dior's archives, Jones has seamlessly blended the house's rich history with youthful, forward-thinking design, making Dior Men one of the most coveted brands in contemporary fashion. One of Jones's most significant contributions has been embracing collaborations, bridging the gap between high fashion and street culture. His partnerships with Sean Stussy, Daniel Arsham, KWS, and Travis Scott have brought fresh perspectives to Dior, proving that luxury fashion can exist beyond the runway and resonate with a younger, global audience. His Spring-Summer 2020 collection, a collaboration with artist Daniel Arsham, featured garments that looked like archaeological relics, an ode to the timelessness of Dior's legacy. Jones has also reimagined Dior's menswear tailoring, giving it a softer, more fluid approach while honoring the precision and craftsmanship that defined Christian Dior's early collections. His take on tailoring meets streetwear has captivated a new generation of fashion enthusiasts, securing Dior's place at the center of cultural conversations. Beyond fashion, Dior has embraced digital transformation, ensuring its relevance in an increasingly tech-driven world. From live stream shows and augmented reality experiences to interactive online exhibitions, the brand has mastered the art of blending tradition with innovation. the metaverse, and NFTs have also contributed to Dior's expansion, with digital couture and exclusive online experiences becoming part of the house's modern identity. Dior's influence extends far beyond the runway. Museum retrospectives, high-profile exhibitions, and collaborations with contemporary artists have further solidified its place as a cultural institution. The 2023 Christian Dior Designer of Dreams exhibition, which traveled globally from Paris to New York and Shanghai, showcased the brand's artistic legacy, immersing visitors in the evolution of Dior's haute couture heritage. Chapter 7: The Enduring Legacy of Dior. Few names in fashion resonate as profoundly as Dior. What began as Christian Dior's audacious vision in 1947 has grown into one of the world's most influential and revered fashion houses. His legacy, built on elegance, craftsmanship, and relentless innovation, continues to shape the industry, proving that great design transcends time. Though Dior himself only helmed the house for a decade, his influence is woven into the fabric of modern luxury, guiding every creative director who has come after him. Dior's commitment to perfection and artistry set a new standard for haute couture. From the precision of a meticulously draped gown to the hand-sewn embellishments of a couture jacket, every element of Dior's world exudes excellence and intention. His philosophy, that fashion is not just about clothing, but about emotion, identity, and storytelling, has remained the driving force of the house for over 7 decades. Whether from Yves Saint Laurent, John Galliano, Raf Simons, or Maria Grazia Chiuri, each collection has been a continuation of Dior's dream, interpreted through new perspectives, but always staying true to its fundamental essence: beauty, femininity, and innovation. Beyond the runway, Dior's impact extends into art, film, fragrance, and culture, solidifying its place as a global institution. The brand has dressed Hollywood's elite, royalty, and political icons, making its mark on every red carpet, gala, and cultural moment of significance. Dior's influence is not confined to clothing. It is felt in every bottle of Miss Dior, every architectural handbag, and every modern reimagination of the bar jacket. The house's ability to adapt, bridging the past with the present and future, has allowed it to remain relevant and pioneering. Today, as the fashion industry embraces new technologies, sustainability, and digital innovation, Dior is at the forefront, blending its timeless heritage with the possibilities of the future. The brand continues to redefine what luxury means, proving that tradition and progress can coexist. Dior's presence in museum exhibitions, virtual fashion showcases, and artistic collaborations is a testament to its enduring relevance, an icon that refuses to be static. But at its core, Dior is more than just a brand. It celebrates beauty, artistry, and creativity, a tribute to Christian Dior's original dream of making women feel powerful, elegant, and extraordinary. As we look ahead, one thing is sure: Dior will continue to captivate, inspire, and define the language of fashion. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Dior's life and work. His story reminds us that true creativity knows no bounds, and his legacy inspires generations to explore the transformative power of design. If you've enjoyed this exploration of Dior's legacy and were inspired and enlightened, don't forget to subscribe to Fashion Source, a free weekly editorial providing you with the latest in fashion, culture, design, and technology. Once again, thank you for your attention. Until next time, I am Designer Malcolm. Stay curious and keep exploring the language of design.